Hi, I'm Alfred Bundy. We're here at the New Jersey League of Municipality Convention in Atlantic City again this year. This is the 104th gathering of this organization. Joining me now is Assemblywoman Schepisi. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You know, we have seen a real concern about vaping
Right.
and e-cigarettes. What's the state legislature doing to deal with this issue?
So we just had a hearing in the Health Committee on this a couple of days ago, and I actually happened to be one of the no votes on a total ban of flavors. There was legislation that at the last minute had an amendment that included all menthol cigarettes along with it. And while I think every single one of us agrees that it's a major issue that we've got to really prevent our youth from having access, how we get there is, there are different philosophies, different ways, different testimony.
And you voted no because of the path or a new path, or what would you like to see?
So essentially, I would like to see, and it's very similar to a New York Times editorial that just came out a couple of days prior to that. The vaping crisis that we're seeing with respect to people getting ill is from black market products, as well as a majority of people utilizing vaping products with THC, and all of them have had vitamin E in them. We need to stop those products.
Okay.
We also need to ensure that they're treated the same way as cigarettes,
Okay.
that we have proper identification requirements, that our children don't have access, that we're not able to get them at just going to a convenience store and picking it up right there. There are a lot of different ways to ensure the integrity and not harm 5 million adults who are utilizing this in lieu of cigarettes.
Okay. Speaking of access, how are we doing as far as creating more affordable housing? Is it accessible? Is it affordable? Are we making sure that there's mixed-use buildings? What's going on? Because there are still a lot of folks who are concerned about housing.
Well, essentially, we've doubled down on bad policy in New Jersey. The current affordable housing laws are really creating a greater schism between market rate that people can't afford and a couple of spattering of affordable units. And the way that it's currently been structured is not helping anybody. All it's causing is overdevelopment throughout our entire state, and our state's already the most densely populated state in the nation.
Now what do we do to make sure that we do have set aside property or part of a development that makes sure that it's going to get low income, moderate housing folk in? What do we do? What are we doing?
So I have
Is it enforcement? What's the problem?
I have a lot of legislation on this particular issue, and one of the biggest concerns that I have is the only housing that's going up that's deemed to be affordable is a cookie cutter, a couple of hundred, it's like 600 square foot apartment. There is no opportunity for home ownership. There's no opportunity for upward mobility. We are not doing anything other than the ultra luxury and these small apartments. And for people such as my family who came over here, we're second generation, we went the entire progression. My grandfather lived in a house in Fairview, 2 bedrooms with 7 people living in the home, and managed to actually build his way up into mid-price housing that my family could afford.
Now, what will your legislation do that will help improve this problem?
Well, some of the things that I'm looking to have us do includes a pilot program. We have so many zombie foreclosed properties throughout the state. Let's go into areas that have poor school districts and do a pilot program. We can bring children into suburban communities, bring families into suburban communities, into home ownership by you doing a public-private partnership with banks, with our government, with our schools that would cost a heck of a lot less, that would get us to the ultimate goal of being able to do integration, particularly for educational opportunities, without having to build on every last available parcel of land in the state.
Okay, I got it now. Many New Jersey transit commuters actually think it's worse than ever, if you want to know the truth. And this has been in the spotlight now for 6-7 years or more. What are we doing to improve New Jersey transit? There's still a lot of concern.
And that's going to become a huge issue as we're building more high-density housing along all these transit lines when we currently don't have capacity, we have no infrastructure, we even don't have engineers who are showing up to work to run the trains. I live in a very densely populated area where everybody commutes into New York City, and the commuting options, it's like Dante's Inferno. It's the inner circle of hell. Every single day I'm getting calls from commuters begging for assistance.
What are we doing?
And we need to, at a minimum, we have to stop funding a lot of the pet projects. We need to be able to fund properly our own transit. If it takes $500 million, let's put $500 million towards fixing it. We need to have new lines. We need to do a whole host of things.
I got you. The governor wants to use executive orders to start a state public bank. Good idea, bad idea?
Horrible idea. And even more troubling is that out of the people that he has put on this public bank board, very few of them have any experience whatsoever in banking. We have a whole wealth of talent in this state, and none of them are being utilized for purposes of their banking knowledge. Instead, we have people with questionable backgrounds who have been investigated, who have caused collapses of the Bermudan government with an open investigation as recently as last year. It's troubling.
A question I've asked everybody today, and we will conclude with that question with you also. What are we losing or gaining having Donald Trump in the White House?
I think a lot of people are losing their minds and utilizing their hatred for what the president does. And look, I'm a much different personality. I believe in building bridges. I believe in respectful discourse and debate. But I've found a lot of people who claim to hate his style, his mannerisms, his tweets, use it as an excuse for their own poor behavior. And we need personal accountability. If you don't like what he's doing, don't engage in the same behavior. Lead by example. Show that we as a state, we as leaders, can set our own pathways. And I have 2 children. I have a 16-year-old daughter. I have an 8-year-old son. They know me as mommy has thick skin. Mommy can withstand anything. I take the punches. Sometimes I punch back, but I always do it fairly. I always try to do it without name calling. Every once in a while I'm human and I'll do something or I say something.
Well, at least that's privately. It's usually privately.
But I think we need to stop using other people's behaviors as an excuse for our own poor behavior.
We had a time, Assemblywoman. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm Alfred Bundy here at the League of Municipality for Altice USA.